Hello, everyone. It is me back again, Minister Michael Bolton. But you can just call me. You can just call me Michael. You know what I'm saying? I'm here. We just gonna do like it's a simple Bible study, and starting with Luke chapter 1, and we just gonna go verse for verse, just teaching about just the Bible, the basics of the Bible. So I pray that you would. Um, Choose to walk this thing out with me as we just walk out Luke. All right, Luke is a Luke is an awesome book. I started this with two of my friends a couple of months ago, and then we kind of got sidetracked. Uh, but all in all, I love the book of Luke, and so we're just gonna go through some of the details, and we're gonna break some of the stuff down, and it's all to glorify God. Um, if He ain't glorified, then we doing all this for nothing. One thing I do love about this internet is that we can touch so many people lives. Uh, More than we can stand on a street corner or working on our jobs. We can touch more lives this way. So this is just extra. You know what I'm saying? This is just extra. So I just ask y'all to just continue to stick with me and walk through this book of Luke with me. All right. If you don't follow me on Facebook, I am Michael Bolton Senior or Mike Bolton Senior on Facebook. Man, if you haven't liked this channel, please like this channel, follow this channel, subscribe, tell your friends and family about this channel. Uh, we're gonna be doing some great things here. Y'all just come and just walk with me, all right? All right. So it says, verse 1, talking about Luke, right? It says, inasmuch as many has undertaken to compile a narrative of the things that has been accomplished amongst us. Verse 2 says, just as those who from the beginning were eyewitnesses and ministers of the word have delivered them to us. It seems good to me also, having followed all things closely for some time past, to write an orderly account for you, most excellent Theophilus. Theophilus. So, as we see here, Luke was not an eyewitness of the life and the things of Jesus Christ. He wasn't an eyewitness there, but he was just kind of like us. He was told about the things that Jesus has done. You know what I'm saying, about the miracles, but he had eyewitnesses. You know what I'm saying, other than us, he had eyewitnesses of people who have seen. They seen the things that Jesus done. They seen the miracles. You know what I'm saying, they seen it from his childhood. He had people that come to him and that tell him about the things that Jesus has done. So uh, he's writing this as to Theophilus to strengthen his faith. You know what I'm saying? So Theophilus is he's already a believer, but he's writing this book to strengthen what he already knows and to strengthen his faith in Jesus Christ, right? So he's helping grounding him in Jesus, and we all need to be grounded in Jesus Christ, our firm foundation, right? And like so Luke is kind of like us, you know what I'm saying? He wasn't a eyewitness, but he heard about Jesus Christ. Like I said, only different from him and us is he had eyewitnesses, and we have passed down uh, uh, this Bible that has been passed down to us from generation to generation. The number one selling book in the world is the Bible, right? Every year. So he said it seems good to me also, having followed the things closely. So he's just not writing just know anything. So even after he received all this information, he followed it up closely. See that for some time to write an orderly account. So he want to make sure that everything is written out. To follow up with the things in a timeline for Theophilus, right? So it says in verse 4 that may have certainly concerning the things you have been taught. So, like I say, he's writing to strengthen his faith and add more, put the cherry on top, right, of what Theophilus has already been taught beforehand. And so in 5 it said, in the days of Herod, the king of the king of Judah, there was a priest named Zachariah of the division Abijah, and has and he had a wife from the daughter of Aaron, and her name was Elizabeth. Verse 6 says, mhm, and they were both righteous before God, walking blamelessly in all the commandments and statuses of the Lord. So, it's like I said, so when we talk about uh, the bloodline. So this also gives them like a bloodline of Jesus. You know what I'm saying? Like when we get into this, we will see how, how Elizabeth was, old in age and she was barren, you know what I'm saying? Uh, and then when you look at other people throughout the bloodline of Jesus, multiple people in their bloodline was barren, right? So this is why it's good to study the word, so you can see patterns, in people's life and bloodlines. And so once we know patterns in our bloodlines, then that gives us the opportunity to that give us something to pray about, that give us something to work on. Why? Because we see a pattern that's going on in our bloodline, and so what we need to be doing, we need to be trying to cut that pattern off. Like when like this, like that pattern has to stop with me. That pattern cannot continue to be passed on to my children and my children's children. So since I notice it, I need to be the one cutting it off. Hello, seven, bro. So excuse me. Um, but he said they walk righteously before and walk blamelessly in the commandment. So they was like I said, Zechariah uh, was a priest, and so uh, they walk in the commandments of God. You know what I'm saying? Like they was upright people. Verse 7 says, but they had no child because Elizabeth was barren and both were advanced in their years. So Elizabeth couldn't have children. I couldn't have children. One, because she was old, and number two, because she couldn't have. You know what I'm saying? That was it was two stipulations. Well, actually three, because God. You know what I'm saying? God had played a part in that as well. But it said, but he had no child, and because they both was married, and both were advanced in years. So they was older people. You know what I'm saying? There was much older people, and to know that old or advanced in their years at that time may be a little bit different. Like advancing out in their years now is more like coming like 70. You know what I'm saying? 80 years old. Where we know that they back then in that time they lived a little bit they lived a lot longer because of they didn't have all this processed food, you know what I'm saying? They wasn't feeding the animals in everything, try to fatten them up as fast as they can. So they lived a way more healthier lifestyle in that time. So verse 8 says, uh, now, while he was serving as priest before God, when his division was on duty, uh, according according to the custom of the priesthood, he was chosen by Lot to enter the temple of the Lord and burn incense. Now, uh, now now it says he was chosen by Lot. So at this time, you would have where they would the priest would it was like 24 priests, and so out of those 24 priests, they would have to go in and go burn incense, and they would go and pray, and they would do this twice a year. Every twice a year they would do this. So this was his time. Where he's in there, he's praying, he's probably in there fasting. He's going praying for the people, going to God for the people. So this is his time where he's going in to uh, where he's been chosen to go in and to do this is his duty, right? For like I think when I did the research, it was like for 2 weeks straight. He was in there. So verse 9 says, uh, according to the custom of the priesthood, he was chosen by Lot to end. My bad. Verse 10 says, and the whole multitude of the people were praying outside of the house, at the house of incense. And there appeared to him an angel of the Lord standing on the right side of him at the altar of incense. And Zechariah was troubled when he saw him, and fear fell upon him. So now this is another thing we need to look at as when angelic beings would appear to people. Fear is one thing that we normally, if we look when we study the Bible, that fear is one thing that kind of happens. You know what I'm saying? It's a holy fear that happens that comes up on the people when they meet angelic beings or anything like that. And that's what it should be when we meet God. You know what I'm saying? Like the all God. You know what I'm saying? That fear should kind of come up on us, but he let them know, like, okay, don't, but fear not. Don't be that type of afraid of me. Because I'm here to help you. Not to bring condemnation upon you. Judgment upon you. Now, 13 says, but the angel said to him, do not be afraid, Zechariah, for your prayer has been heard, and your wife Elizabeth will bear a son, and you shall call his name John. Now, as we see, that's 9 times out of 10 when he's in there praying right now. He's probably praying about son. You know what I'm saying? Like he's going to the Lord on him and his wife behalf because they've just think about all the years they probably have tried to have a son and not be able to have one. So that's a lot of pressure on him. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he's questioning himself. Like, man, is it me? Why we haven't had a child? Well, I'm sure the wife, Elizabeth, she's probably questioning, like, is it her? And now when we look at it, it's both of them. And then when we look at it again, not only is it's both of them, but it's through the bloodline where there's barrenness that is happening throughout their bloodline. I don't have all the information right now. About the bloodline, how it was barrenness in uh, multiple people in the bloodline. But when you go back and you look, there's multiple people in the bloodline that was barren that couldn't have children. Um, but like I said, now as we see the angel has appeared and let them know, like, hey, you're gonna have a child, right? So now, uh, so now I can understand how he can be kind of like, man, what are you talking about? Like, I've tried all these years to have a child. Like, you telling me now at this old age that I'm gonna have children? I can see why the disbelief can creep in, because I've been trying for this thing for a long time and it hasn't happened. And he recognizing within himself that saying that I'm old. You know what I'm saying? So that if it ain't happened before now, then why would it happen after all this time? So we got to understand that even though we are reading this, you know what I'm saying, this historic book, this powerful, this living word, uh, that they was still it was human. These was human people. You know what I'm saying? Like these wasn't angelic beings. Like they was human, just like me and you, Elizabeth and Zachariah was. So when we always got to take that into account that man, I can understand and being able to put ourselves in their shoes to understand why um, why they may have doubted in certain situations. So in 14 it says, and you will have joy and gladness, and many will rejoice at his birth. So he's giving him a promise, right? He said the promise is that joy and gladness, right, will they will get from the birth of John. Now, the angel also told him that he told him what God wanted them to name his child. So I think we should take that in account as well. That before we just start giving our kids all these names that we give them, you know what I'm saying? These big long names, these crazy names. We should take into account, God, what do you want me to call this child that's in my belly? God, what do you want me to call this child that's inside of my and my wife. You know what I'm saying? What name is it that you want me to give? Because I think that even if uh, for God, it meant a lot for God to say, okay, this is what you're going to name him. You know what I'm saying? Like I think that means something, that God chose the name for John. You know what I'm saying? He chose the name for Zachariah and Elizabeth. He didn't allow them to choose. So I think we should also think about that even when it comes to our own lives when we're having children. That we should also that's something that we should consult the Lord about. If He cared about it then I think He most definitely cares about it now. And I know we can uh, look at some of the names that were, certain situations that happened where not God, but the people came up with names that they didn't consult God about. But as we see here, God cares about the name of the child. So I think that's something we should just take into consideration, right? Uh, do, do, do. Hold on. And it says at the end, it says, many will rejoice at his birth. So like I said, there's three promises that the angel has given, uh, what I'm saying, Zechariah, that shall come to play. You know what I'm saying? Also, that he let him know that he said your wife should have a son. So this is prophecy. And then he has to watch him and especially him and Elizabeth has to watch this prophecy come to play. So like I said, that's something we need to take account of. The name, the promises, you know what I'm saying, that he has given him that, this should happen. Joy, gladness, and uh, many will rejoice, you know what I'm saying, at his birth. 15 says, for he will be great before the Lord. That's another promise. He must not drink wine or strong drink, and he will be filled with the Holy Spirit even from his mother's womb. Now, so the angels already let him know that God has set him apart, right? Uh, as we know, there's nothing wrong with drinking wine. You know what I'm saying? For some of us, I'm gonna say it like that. I can't tell you that the Bible that speaks against speaking of drink from wine, because he, as we know, uh, they drank wine at the Last Supper. They drank wine at the wedding. All of that stuff. But for some people, when you are chosen, for some people, when you're called for a certain thing and for a certain mission, there's some things that we cannot do. Plain and simple. Not saying it's a sin, but we have to understand. I was having this conversation with some of the people